Has your morning commute gone from sitting around in traffic to a short walk to your living room? The pandemic came to a shock to most of us, with many people not knowing how the pandemic would affect our lives and how long it would last for. But soon enough, many of us was leaving our work offices and won't be returning for a long while, and schools around the country would be soon closing down, swapping the classroom for the dining room table. In today's video, we will be discussing all about remote working, including the positives and the negatives, as well as what the future holds for remote working. So, stay tuned until the end of the video to find out about the new way of working. So, before we get into the video, let's first discuss the basics of remote working and if it was a thing before the pandemic. Remote working is a working style in which professionals work outside of the traditional office environment. Remote working isn't new. In fact, it is growing in popularity, and because of the pandemic, it has become a necessity. However, working remotely has existed way before the pandemic, going way back before the Industrial Revolution, where people would work out of their homes, such as blacksmiths and carpenters. However, the introduction of the Industrial Revolution brought about factories, where employees were required to go to the workplace. The modern remote work that we see today is due to technologies becoming better and the innovation of Wi-Fi, which allow people to own their own personal computers and be connected to the internet at home, meaning that people can work remotely from home, either part-time, full-time, permanently or temporarily. So now that we have an understanding on what remote work is and its origins, let's discuss how COVID-19 has pushed this way of working and what positives and negatives we have seen from it. In March 2020, companies across the globe abruptly shut their offices and was instructed to send their employees home and continue their work from home. At this moment in time, the virus was spreading and many countries had gone into lockdown, and those companies that wasn't necessary to stay open closed their doors, and many had to conduct their work over communications applications such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and soon enough this new shift in work style became the norm. As the pandemic forced people to stay inside, companies had to think of new ways to be able to still carry on working. This didn't only affect workers but also students, as for a period of time schools shut down and now students had to do their schoolwork online from home. For many people it was their first time working from home, now having to adjust their lifestyle and routines to fit in with remote working. For many people it would have been their first time using applications such as Zoom, Teams and Slack, which as a result of the pandemic has drastically increased their daily users, with Microsoft Teams now having around 145 million daily users, a significant jump from when it first started. At the beginning of the pandemic, Teams daily users was approximately 32 million users, and in a matter of weeks this had increased to 75 million users. A similar path was seen with Zoom. As the pandemic hit and people started working from their homes, Zoom's daily users increased. And at the start of the pandemic, Zoom's daily users increased over by 150%. Before the pandemic happened, many people were so used to going to work and working at an office that people may have not even thought of the possibility of working from home. Even though the concept is not new, the norm in today's society for most jobs is to leave your home and go to work at an office. And before the pandemic, there were even some misconceptions about remote work. Some people seen remote jobs as scams and not real jobs, with others thinking that remote jobs were only available to very specific jobs such as freelancing. However, with the pandemic and mass amounts of people now working from home, there has been many studies that have been able to capture people's thoughts and opinions on the work style, underlining the good and the bad that comes with working remotely, such as allowing people to improve their work-life balance, as people are spending less time on their commute and are able to have more time outside of work to do things with their family and friends which they may not have gotten to do before. As well as studies suggesting that people's productivity within the workplace is also increasing, with some researchers suggesting that this is because people are getting less distracted at home than the office, as they are able to have a quieter environment in their home. Studies have also shown that companies have been able to reduce employee turnover, As a result of better employee satisfaction, aspects such as less commute time and saving money from not needing to commute has helped increase people's satisfaction. One demographic which remote work has helped is parents, as working parents are now able to save money on childcare responsibilities and are now being able to work more hours. However, it is not all positive, as there are downsides to working remotely. One main negative aspect is that people are feeling more lonely when they are working, as they are missing the social aspects which working in an office would have provided. As well as loneliness, another downside to working remotely is the home office costs, as not everyone will be equipped with all their work needs at home. And although some companies do provide their employees with work laptops and computers, not all do, as well as people now need to make sure they have good enough internet providers to be able to work from home. With many now outweighing the negatives and positives of remote working, and more people becoming comfortable with working from home, the next question is it here to stay? As it has now been 2 years since the beginning of the pandemic, and more people are becoming vaccinated and rules are often changing, more businesses began to open back up and people started returning to the workplace. However, with the uncertainty of COVID-19, many things had to change to ensure the safety of everyone. And one good outcome of the pandemic is that people are now more prepared and aware of what they need to do to be able to continue operating if they were to go into another lockdown. With many people enjoying working from home but also missing their colleagues, some workplaces have now adopted a hybrid working style where employees will go to the office a couple of times a week and then spend the rest of their week working from home, giving employees the best of both worlds, as people now are able to go back into the work and socialise, as well as being able to feel more connected to their workplace. They also get the pros of working from home, such as saving on travel and food and having a better work-life balance. It is clear to see that the pandemic has changed the workplace forever, and although we do not know what the future holds, companies are now more than ever planning on how to move forward in a way that is safe and also satisfactory for their employees, and they know that in these times of uncertainty, it is easy for people to become overwhelmed, which will inevitably affect their work. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please do subscribe and leave a like. Also, let us know your opinions on remote work down in the comment section below.